Okay, what we're going to do today is a lesson on steel welding. How do we do it? Before we start welding, we want to show a few things about the technical side of it. For instance, the steel is CA3 cold roll, not just any normal steel. If you were doing a repair on your door skin or your quarter panel, obviously you take the paint off. We don't have to because this is brand new steel. But let's presume this is a bottom of a door skin, very small, but it's only a demonstration. You would have to have some data lines. Therefore, what I usually do is I use a ruler and a compass, and I just put a line across that way. So when I take the door skin off, or the patch I'm making on and off, I know exactly what I am with the shape. So what we do first, we show you how to tack it. Once it's clamped in position and you've got a nice line, you put a tack about that far from the first clamp. And here we go. Okay, you can use filler rod if you like. Depends on your cut. A lot of people use filler rods, nothing wrong with that. A lot of people will just fuse weld it. Now what's going to happen is, sometime when you tack it, the panel tries to open up, or sometime it closes. And I've noticed a lot of people would get on the hammer and dolly straight away while it's hot and tap it. Well, that's the wrong thing to do, because all you're doing is actually shrinking the metal. The best thing to do is to cool it down, wait till it cools down, and then release it, and the panel will come back to where you started. We'll do that now. It might be still a little bit too hot, which it is. But as you can see, the panel has changed a little bit. It's trying to overlap itself. Okay, the first tack has now cooled down. And as you can see, as I said before, it's trying to overlap itself. That's caused by the heat. So it's pretty useless to keep going, because you're only going to get in trouble later on. So what I'm going to do, I'm now going to use a dolly. But if it's on a car, of course you can't use one of those dollies. You have to use a hand dolly, and you just tap it up and reopen it. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to slightly tap it there. As I said, and I stress it again, you must do that while it's cold, not while it's hot, or you put in a big shrink in there. Now see that? It's free again. So I'm going to put my clamp back on there. And the technical side of it is to put the next tack where that blue finish. Now again, you don't have to do that, but for the people that just started, follow these instructions. In this case, as you can see, the panel is opening now. Before it closed, now it's open. So wait until it cools off and it'll come back. If it didn't, all you got to do is just push it a little bit and bring it back to where you started. Look, it's already started to close. Again, do not tap it while it's hot. So what I'll do, I go back on the bench and I'll give it another tap. Okay, the panel is back again where we started. It's a long process doing it this way. Sometimes it can be fastidious, but believe me, you won't get in any trouble that way. If you start R-ing it and perhaps putting wires where the gaps appears and pushing it together when there's no gap or whatever, you're just going to get into trouble later on. Okay, we just finished tacking it. As you can see, I'll go through a couple of the points again. I've got a tack very close together, and I've used, as I said before, the perimeter of the hot spot to tack it with. Done by oxy, because again, if you look at it on the other side, it's exactly the same. No extra metal on both sides, nice and level. If you're doing that with the MIG, you'll be in trouble because you couldn't plunish it already. You'll have metal protruding and it'll dent the panel, do all sorts of things. Now, the idea is to tack it like that and make sure that everything's smooth, and then from there you can start welding. Two ways to do things. You can use a filling rod. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you both on the same weld. I'm going to use a bit of welding rod on half of it and fuse weld it on the other. So here we go. Now what I'm doing is I'm creating a melting pool, and as the melting pool occurs, I just dip a little bit of white in it. As you can see the melting pool there, I just put a little bit of rod. And I'm pushing along with the torch, I'm pushing the melting pool along. Okay, now, if you happen to blow in any holes, you just go back and you put a little bit of rod on the hole and you keep going. You can either wait until you're finished and go back on the hole, or you can do it straight away. It's up to you. It depends on your ability. Now, as you can see, the panel is back to fairly flat. There's still quite a bit of distortion there, but it'll all come away when you panel bit it later on. One point that I should mention is, if the panel sinks too much and it's going inverted, you'd be better off stopping and with the dolly bring it back up, because it won't weld very well in that position. Usually if they got shapes, usually if you've got a panel that it's got a lot of shape or a little bit of shape, it won't happen. But in this case, because it's a fairly flat panel, it does happen. So you'll be better off stopping and just get it back to flat again. I'm now going to try to fuse weld it. Now I'll be only using that in case I blow a hole in it. So I'll have that ready, but I'll try to fuse weld it together. Now what I'm doing, I'm creating a pool and I'm just changing the angle slightly of the torch. Slightly, very slightly, and I just push the melting along. And when you get to the end like I'm about to do now, you just go a little bit quicker, because otherwise you'll burn a hole in it. You saw me just flicking the torch just then. That's just because I got to the end. Now what I'd like to show you is this, I don't know where you can see it, but where the wire was used, it's probably a little bit high, but nothing. You can bit it down, or you can file it off, or you can grind it off a little bit. Where the fusion weld is there, it's a lot flatter. The penetration's still the same, but see the penetration beyond there is the same. You've got the same amount of penetration on both sides. But as I mentioned before, it is a little bit stronger with the rod in it. When this will cool off, I'll tap it again and I'll flatten it all out. Okay, now that's cool off, we're now going to try to plunish it a little bit and get all that funny distortion, which I told you will happen, but there's no panic. As we plunish that, it'll just release it. Again, you can't do that on a skin, so you'll have to use a hammer and dolly, but the principle is the same. So I'm going to start from one end. As you can see, this improved slightly. The edges come back to straight. One thing that you should never ever do also is never put a weld like that through a wheeling machine. It will just damage your wheels. On that note, my friends, happy practicing.